So moving on to government benefits. Government benefits, SSDI versus SSI. A lot of people ask, well, what's the difference between Social Security disability insurance and supplemental security income? And I know when I talk to people on the phone, they're saying, oh, I applied for Social Security disability, and I'm on Medi-Cal, and I'm like, no, they're talking about SSI. So an easy way to remember the difference, and I'm totally stealing this from a former coworker of mine. SSDI is based on work history. You have to have worked and paid into it in order to be able to get SSDI. SSI is based on income. So they look at your income. Usually if you qualify for Medi-Cal, you qualify for SSI. The way to remember the difference, D for Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be able to get SSDI if he had to, but he'd never be able to get SSI. It's that easy. We're a bunch of lawyers, but that's how we remember things. So again, SSDI, if you think that your disability is going to last longer than a year, it's based on work history. This is if you are not eligible yet for Social Security. So if you can't collect on your Social Security yet, but you're disabled and you can't work anymore, you can go early on Social Security by getting SSDI or SSI. Once you become eligible for Social Security, you're no longer eligible for SSDI or SSI. If you have been on SSDI for 2 or more years, you qualify for Medicare. So you don't have to wait until you turn 65 to get on Medicare. If you've been on SSDI for 2 or more years, you can get Medicare. And again, you must be deemed disabled by the Social Security Administration office. A lot harder of a standard to meet than under the Americans with Disabilities Act. It is almost a given that you will be denied the first time you apply for SSDI. It's a 4-part appeals process, 4 levels. Most have to go right up to that 3rd level before they can see that they've been reversed. But over 70% are denied the first time. I've been told 63% are reversed by the 3rd level. 6 months for this check to pay out, but it is paid retroactive to the date of your disability. Different than SSI because it's based on income. Those checks are paid out a lot faster. WHCRA, another federal law administered by the Department of Labor, and also there is a state supplemental law, but we deal with the federal law, Women's Health and Cancer Rights Act. Just briefly, this handles for group plans. This is for health plans, insurance companies, and HMOs that cover the mastectomy must also then cover the reconstruction. And it's a law that is still kind of a work in progress no matter how many years it's been around because it's vague in some areas. But it talks about reconstruction on the breast in which the mastectomy was performed, but also on the other breast to achieve symmetry in appearance. And we do get a lot of questions on WHCRA. Also, a lot of people ask, well, if I'm changing jobs and my health plan under my former employer covered my mastectomy, will my new health insurance cover my reconstruction or achieving symmetry? And right now, the way it looks is if that new group plan would have covered your mastectomy, they must then also cover your reconstruction. This is the Department of Managed Healthcare. They oversee HMOs and Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO. If you want to file a complaint against your HMO or Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO, you call the Department of Managed Healthcare. I've done it myself because I like to do a lot of things on my own before I tell somebody else to do it, so I know that it works. You can expedite these claims if you absolutely have to. You let them know. You write it on the top. You can print these forms out off of their website and you fax it in. And they also handle independent medical reviews. So if you need to get an independent medical review, that's all the Department of Managed Healthcare. Also, they work in coordination with the Office of the Patient Advocate. So these are 2 resources that we give out a lot. And basically what this means for people who live in California is there's a lot of protection here in this state. There are laws that have been passed that will cover routine costs for clinical trials. That's something that not every state has. Independent medical reviews, the laws that protect a person here for an independent medical review going outside your HMO, laws that don't exist in a lot of other states. If you have these questions but you don't have an HMO or Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO, you want to call the Department of Insurance That's who most other people outside of California would need to call, because DMHC doesn't exist, and I haven't found another state that has this. Maintain records by bringing somebody to the doctor's office with you, writing things down if you don't have somebody else to come with you. Just ways that we try to remind people of things to keep it easy, so that when you call us, it's always nice to hear someone say, oh yeah, I've kept a record of that. Yeah, we like that. If you want to write to your elected officials and tell them about what's going on and what's concerning you and why it should concern them, since you're a constituent. So there are all sorts of ways that you can get involved in advocacy. And there are organizations out there. I know that we go to DC with Susan G. Komen. I know that Lance Armstrong is there in May. There are American Cancer Society goes every year as well. And it's all about self-advocacy and what you can do. And that's our information right there. Thank you.
These awesome people covered so much. And, you know, originally when Marty asked if I'd come, you know, I told her, as a social worker, all of you have access to the most awesome resource, and that's the wellness community. When my patients tell me they're hooked up with the wellness community, I feel like they have a link to all the resources that are out there. They have a lifeline. Being a social worker at a hospital, we have tons of resources. I didn't want to bring them all tonight because I don't know what your individual needs are. I know the disability programs are very confusing and very overwhelming, but there is help out there, and I think you said that too. It's just finding it. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but I'm trying to teach my teenagers, ask for help. There's people out there that want to help you.